of the country.
Okay.
And yeah, how. In fact, Obekaya, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the campaign, one key feature, a platform of the Youth Connect platform. Everywhere we go, no matter the engagement we do, he spends time with the youth, 2 to 4 hours. Amongst all the aspirants and the candidates, he's the one who is most equipped with the challenges and even the aspirations of the young people across the country. And center in this conversation of unemployment. It is a matter of urgency, because we acquire a ban we have first 2.6 million jobs, and yet we still have millions of young people who need a lot more work to do. So that we need to really speed up the process. And I did about point say the fact is it created 2.6 million jobs did not mean say all of a sudden the unemployment situation in the country will be wiped away. In fact, what we should rather be asking ourselves, it tells you how deep the challenge was. Because if after even creating 2.6 million jobs, you still have millions of young people looking for jobs, it tells you how bad the situation was. And so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia talks about accelerating the process, and he believes now the next level is to push it from 2.6 and add some 4 million jobs because of a lot of the fundamentals that he's put in place. Don't forget, directly connected with jobs creation is even the skill sets that the young people have. You may have a lot of job opportunities, but you can have a population that are not ready for it. In fact, there's a video of the former president actually making this point in an interview where he was making the point that we were churning out students and graduates who were not ready for the job market. And so it's important that we admit, we have been able to, in the past 8 years, churn out a lot more ready for job market Ghanaians. So I just say, it's analysis, and I'm glad I'm in the midst of law students. It makes the conversation very level, headed. I don't know, unemployment rate is 7%, and I feel 40%. It is possible. You can have an unemployment rate at 6%, maybe 10 years ago, and create maybe even 4 million jobs, and still come 10 years later and have 20% unemployment rate. Why? Because the number of people who are moving into the ready to work bracket could be higher than it was in the past. And you are also churning out a lot more young people now omako school almost here in San Ejuma ready. TVET before I buy with Bana TVET was doing just about 46,000 entire population technical vocational education training. Today technical vocational education training is about 146,000. What it means is that some 100,000 people who probably in the past were not ready for the job market are now ready. So those numbers for me are very, very important, and it tells us that we still have a lot to do as a country to open up our economy in a way that the between and the public brain. Now, this is what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying. He admits in every conversation on Mebu Nation, he say creating human, but the idea so far, nature say the only way between more numbers getting into the workforce is a true private sector. Because teacher for the doors and a bit next for the door percent a bit. We're talking about millions of unemployed people. Teacher for a bit next one a bit soldier for a bit and see, we need to stimulate private sector. Then find the public way. I give you a very quick example. So Chicken Man Pizza Man, and he's like our poster example. This is a young man who had dreams. Anna Oye ni pizza ewo ni room KNUST where we school or pay support to me at the Ebien Ejuma, and then Abai had the National Entrepreneur Innovation Program, and then NEIP presidential pitch and Abai supported him. Today look at him. Pizza Man Chicken Man is like every neighborhood. Now when we talk about the jobs, this is an example, and this is what I'm going to say. So every single employee Pizza Man Chicken Man has is part of the jobs that have been created in that 2.6 million. So if you want to understand how we come up with those numbers, that's what it means. So Pizza Man Chicken Man has created so much branches as a result of the support that government gave him, and today he's probably one of the youngest, largest employer you can find in the capital and even across the country. And see, Pizza Man Chicken Man is one of the 138,000 beneficiaries of NEIP. He's just one, and yet look at the number of jobs he has created as a result of that support. So when government is now showing working for jobs created, he's not going to count Pizza Man as one employment. You are going to count all the employees under Pizzaman as the jobs that have been created as a result of government's intervention. You get what I'm saying? And so if NEIP alone since 2017 till now, in fact this data is even as of 2023, has supported 138,000, and one of them is Pizzaman. You can imagine the rest of the people. And you watch the presidential pitch all the time. You see government supporting them with 200,000, 300,000, 1 million, and they are doing amazing things. I have one in my area, tropical growers. I think I've shown them here before. Young people who are using hydroponics to grow vegetables, which they sell to some of the mega shops you have in Accra, and they're employing people. I have shoe fabric in my constituency. This sandals that I'm wearing is actually manufactured by young people in my area. Now, only one person got support through government's 1D1F initiative, and yet that person has employed close to about 300 people in that factory. So those numbers are real. They are not numbers that you can just get up one day and just manufacture. The numbers are numbers that are very real. And the thing that this government has done, and done right, is to track the interventions that government is giving and how it's affecting the lives of people.
But when you say because you need proper labor statistics, no, in the source of such data, no, mostly data thrown out by the political elite.
No, it's there.
No, hold on. In the source, no, you'd mention SNIT, but when him say SNIT will not give you that very accurate labor data and as statistics are open and that's how come maybe from slides so we share from the manifesto launch to Sunday way event, the number of jobs created keeps changing.
Because but it's increasing, it's not decreasing.
Yes, it is increasing.
Yes, but of course, but it's from, you quoted the first one from 2022.
Yes.
Then the second one is 2023.
Yes.
And the next one is 2024. You don't expect it to be started.
Yeah, but you're not into, for example, so from 2023 figure and 2024 figure, the source of sa figure no.
But I've just given you a classic example with Chickenman Pizzaman. This is a tropical growers.
Yes.
So you can see these are people who are actually working. Now don't forget, these people receive direct intervention from government. So we have a way that we interact and deal with them to know what's happening with them. Government has a tracker and on all of these people, and trust me, it's not only NEIP that government is tracking. Government is tracking the 400 government are buying a tracking, are buying almost about 438 beneficiaries are buying support through the Ghana Entrepreneurial Agency.
Yes.
So that's about 438,000, and we're not talking about 438,000 employment, 438,000 entrepreneurs.
Yes.
DACF, Digital Assembly Common Fund, Persons with Disability Fund. I was a municipal chief executive, and I can tell you, say this government, and the only government since a DACF by a supporting PWD, they decided, say, listen, here my tabletop cash to persons with disability. You know what we do? We are setting up entrepreneurs. Until Obi will also be so your cool store. Me man for 50 containers. Stock him on some from so far because of a person with disability. No offending me, you know, someone you want to shop in the manner. So let me go and say, and these are numbers that we are tracking. So it's not like it's in vacuum. But you see, that doesn't change the fact that there are millions of young people who need jobs. So I just so nobody can get up and say, oh, because we created 2.6 million jobs in unemployment score. It won't go. NDC created 600,000 jobs. That's actually what they reported. 600,000 jobs. It doesn't mean say unemployment will be gone at that time. But the fact is that you have millions of people between 2017 to 2024. About 5.7 million young people have gone through secondary education. Just imagine. 5.7. So let's just assume that after the 5.7, even 4.7 million of them, okay, are moving to the next level, tertiary, any form of tertiary. These are people who are moving straight away within a space of 8 years and getting ready for the job market. So it's a big deal. The unemployment situation is a big deal. It means that this country, at all point in time, within every 10-year space, should be creating employment space for close to about 6-7 million people before we can say we have a 0% unemployment. So that is a very serious situation, and that is why we need a leader that can sit down and look at the situation and say, how do we deal with this? That in spite of creating so much jobs, we still have millions of people looking for jobs, and that's where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia comes in. Instead Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia come on in bebu ni di nyina no, on be gina mo nimu ya ho ma so nka say ma solve mu problems nyina ma mo. Ne mo say listen, ya how no e doso, but e kwan say na me gidi say ye koye nim no yebetumi afa so. Critical. at the center of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's plan is to create a lot more entrepreneurs. Because you see, Aban to be boa, it creates a lot more entrepreneurs, businessmen. It is a faster way to absorb the ready to work young people in the country than trying to create the jobs directly yourself. So I gave you the example of Pizza Man, Chicken Man. If government decided so one can say criticize, but because you support one person, that person is now employing thousands of young people. And that is what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's focus is on. Until now, what kind of yes policies now? It is geared towards helping to stimulate the business side of the country, to get these businesses to have some freedom to expand. Or more expand here, then they can now produce more, and now they would have a reason to do what? To employ more. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia also speaks about the fact that we need to build the skill set of the young people. And see, critical is the TVET training. And then the TVET training is no longer the technical vocational training. So who auto mechanic for workshopper. It is a work of Toyota and Japan Motors for simulation center. Very modern tools. Why? Because on the other side of the equation, are buying any of these automobile companies in Yankita, as we speak, 11 automobile companies and Eguso almost setting up in this country. Obi today, there are cars on this street that are assembled in this country. But early days to build that kind of automobile industry, you can do it in 4 or 5 years. But the government has shown where can say has started. Now you have to be ready on the other side. Make sure that your HR, your human resource is getting ready. And that's why government is investing so much in TVET. Unprecedented investment in that side. So they be school now quickly, baby Japan Motors, Toyota Ghana, Legon, whole technical investor according to partnership. Westlands. We are
Toyota for SC, University of Ghana.
It's a very integrated plan, and I buy air planning. But these things, Ubi, I saw 2 boys now, 3 years, what you mean, so. I dear Bakunti and Nayatia, Yugusuka employment situation is Ubi. The fundamentals necessary buying Biaba or Yano. I buy Biaba or Janifrimo. And it's because of the fear that if you decide to spend all your time in these kind of sectors, by the time your election is due, you have nothing to show. Why? Because these things take time. So you want to formalize an economy. You cannot formalize an economy within 4 years and see results. So you can't come to us in 4 years, don't make a chance and say, the Ghana card Abremo. What is the impact of Ghana card? So once you are doing all of these things, it's a seller who show working in Kakrakra, who show working in Kakrakra. But the ultimate effect of what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has done for this country in terms of building the fundamentals, Obi, we are going to see it in about 10 years from now. Because budget is revenue and expenditure. So first of all, you have to even know baby how did you who we are. You have to know baby how best spend the but now they are here blindly. And one say sorry, see a basic hospital see, your bay road see without any data. This government came and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said, you know what? Let's first of all identify our properties. That is the national addressing system. Before Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia brought this national addressing system, who knew what it was to talk about GPS? We're able to identify every single location. Today in Ghana, there is nowhere you are. You have to be for GPS in your day.
Rana Atikwa has said on only feed in a juma.
On only feed in your juma.
Yeah, or say in the address in a juma.
Oh, I mean, I'm running in the use. It be not use because Ghana. In fact, forest Mukrana was send GPS. So what drive here Robeba, bike Robeba, bicycle, it gives you the option. It be a nimna onim use. But everybody needs to learn some of these things. Afterwards, we have to now identify the human beings. After identifying the properties, and that's what brought the Ghana card thing. See, Obi, Ghana card is a big deal. It's not just an ID card. It is the basis for which this country is going to leap into the future. The kind of Ghana card that Ghana has, very few countries have it. Very, very few countries have it. So today, we can now build a budget and plan for our people, knowing very well that she is in the Ghana Law School. Ghana Law School. In 3 years or 4 years, she'll be done. She's going to become a lawyer. How are we planning for her? That is something that we're missing on. So this formalization of the economy that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been concentrating on is not a sexy area. It's not an attractive place that way a government you'd want to venture into. And that is why when you pay close attention, all government before now, we're only interested in, I've built 2 schools, I've built 2 roads, I've built 2 toilets, vote for me. This is the first time we are talking about the real hardcore soft issues, where people can now connect and say, because of Sanya Mori to acquire Wimuntino, this is the results that I'm expecting. One district, one factory, one of the mainstays of this government. And I speak to my young colleagues here, my friends here, that listen, this country has a history. We cannot go into this ballot without looking at the history. Otherwise, we'll take wrong decisions. The reason why we are going to vote on December 7th is because we are going to make a choice. So we must run a comparative analysis on what we have. It may not be 100% for everybody, but we surely have to make a choice. See, this country used to have a strong industrial base before 1988. In 1988, the NDC government, then PNDC, started selling off all state assets. Now, when they got to 1992, they realized that they had sold a lot of these state factories without any legal framework. So in 1992, they rushed back to Parliament. You are lawyers. Now, what they did was that they passed the law called the Divestiture Implementation Act. What that sought to do was to simply sell off state factories. Now, strategically, they had to make sure that that law is taking retrospective effect, so that all the things they did between 1988 and 1992, I don't have any problem with that. Honestly speaking, every leader have their own plans and aspirations. Maybe at the time, in their minds, that's the best of decisions. But I think it was a poor decision. It was a poor decision because at that time, government, any private sector could have partnered to ensure that these factories are allowed to live and grow. They sold these factories like chupa chops. There are churches around Jowulu and Tema that are running in factories that used to produce corned beef, sardines, and tin tomatoes and what have you. This country, near producing car tie, assemble cars waha. Yeah, glass. We're doing almost everything in this country. But you see, that base was wiped out. What it meant is that for this country to be able to build an industrial base, it's not just an issue of you are building from the base. You have to fill a hole. For the hole to come to a certain level, so what you're saying, then you can build from there. And that is why I am begging every young person in this country, say, please, let's stick together. Moment my misses our opportunity, because the fact is, say, apart from this government, no government since 1992 and I did deliberate policy to Akwemu to rebuild our industrial base. That is fact. It may not be as flamboyant as Nankeyepe, but no can say 320 factories, 169 are operational. They are currently ongoing. Mimi area, my factory back. Before now, we never had even one. So baby steps. But Okotwaba, Onipa 13. Baako party omo buy no ton factory 300. Baako party omo buy no was started factory 320. Why 169? Dia otwo so sisi no ye dia open nyina ma wo ye. No kre ne say onye ni nyina ma wo ye. But choices na wo no. Choices now one a better option because our show working kakra, and that's what we are talking about. There was a poultry farm called Dako Farms. It was one of the most popular poultry farms in Ghana. I'm sure you've heard it before. Dako Farms was one of the most popular poultry farms in Ghana. It collapsed here for over 20 years. As we speak, Dako Farms is operational through the 1D 1F policy. And today, the KFC that you ate today or maybe this week, trust me, the chicken is likely coming from Dako Farms. I tell you what, Coca-Cola ran about Spintex. You have Casapreco there. Casapreco used to operate from only Coca-Cola Spintex. But government said Casapreco, you are employing a lot of people at the Spintex and Accra area. Say your support, your certain incentives are. We bet me I say I will make me be crowd Kumasi, Ashanti region. I say okay, we'll support you to 1D 1F. Today, Oko Ashanti region, there's also a plant there for Casapreco. What is it? What is it doing? It is employing people. Vote for him. Let him build on this and upgrade this 1D 1F initiative. Okay. The good thing is that it's all started policy. We got through challenges. We say baby you learn from it and then you improve. It is better for you to learn the one who started it. Nipa no share ase no omo no mo to aso na baby a enko yie no miemiem no improve ya better than say obeto atwene kra. Government, Dr. Mahmoud Bami is also talking about ensuring say you best stimulate demand. Now, credit scoring system now okan 17. This is simply what it means. What it means is that TS is here. Ebi aye adwuma. Bosumi bi aye 1,000 Ghana cedis. You per se talk on yake to be way demo. Akonya no aye.
And would that be a response to the question on entrepreneurship, opportunities, and jobs?
Almost everything I'm saying now. So demand na nkrofo ewo no ewo ho unya nka beto akonya about 1,000 Ghana cedis akonya ne 2500 as we to be 500 savings no now that akota akonya. But with a proper credit rating, credit scoring system, like it happens all over the world, but we akota akonya ne now what na so ene na yatete won kakra nti sa wo savings na wo twen 5 months and akoto no we bet me nya ade no today and then 5 months now you would have been waiting, no? Rather use it to pay. That is why our colleagues who travel to the UK and the US, then they'll call you a year later and say, we bought a house, we bought a car. They haven't paid with cash. They've actually bought it and they are paying in bits. Ghana, we don't have it because you need composite credit scoring system. It to me, I identify your transactions in to give us the rating. With this composite system that Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is launching on Thursday, even students who are not working will have a credit score. You know why? Because Obi who was school, Oma me send away be a 500 Ghana cedis a month. Oko odo rice, eko for ho. Now koto rice ah. So base no. Okoto rice ah. Odu mu mo betua. Enti 500 na the month dey mu be 50 cedis at rice. So I just say, odu mu 20 to say, oto nsuo. Now month ne be so na ka 300 cedis. Now ma me answer no 500 no we na 800. It is all building on your credit score. So every crowd when you worker, we a student. But because mobile money is connected to the credit scoring system, Ninti, you will still have a credit score that will still get you access to certain things and then even as a student. Because students do anima money 500. If you person to laptop could be this year you sika boom and fanto. But with the credit scoring system, even though you're not working, you still have a credit score that can qualify you to get a laptop. Then you'll be paying small based on that transaction now with your mobile money and also no. And what does they say? My business is a lot of demand right now because a lot of people can now go and buy things and pay small. Now when they are getting a lot of demand, what happens? They will have to expand and produce more. And if they have to expand and produce more, what happens? They would have to employ more people. So a very integrated system and plan that Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is talking about. The flat rate system, the tax reforms, the tax amnesty, geared towards ensuring that businesses have freedom kakra. No me to be there concentrating on my juma. Sikana bimpoa and kado kwakotua wo tax arrears na wunje no. Obetumi ayedin are reinvested into the business. Now why expand it or set up SME bank. About 80% of businesses in Ghana are SMEs. 80%. Now, between 80 to 90% of all people working are working for SMEs. Obi, nipa kakrebi companies kakrebi na falling in 10% omo multi-mega companies. But Ghana, SMEs are from between 80 to 90%. And all of us working in Ghana, about 80 to 90% of us also work in SMEs. Now the man says, let me set up an SME bank. Just like we have ADB supporting Agric. So that because SMEs does one mine, you bet to me focus support for SMEs. Nasa SMEs and the
SMEs no would include businesses are no kase youth net on your online Instagram. The Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok CEOs, they are a lot. Of Instagram, every young girl who CEO. And they are a lot. And Obi, they are doing fantastically well. Obi, I'm telling you, the amount of transaction happening on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok today, you have no idea. And why are we able to do this? We're able to do this because some of the things Dr. Mahmoud Bamia has done. Mobile money interoperability. Today, you can push all the payment that have been made to you. Payment and convert on your mobile money. About $5. No pushing in your mobile money. So now they are called to car bank, GCB, Stanchart account. You don't even have to struggle with it. And then Obi MTN now Vodafone. And when you answer Nanti Akobe say, hey, maybe answer this come on or telephone so now we try whether or you use MTN or Vodafone, it doesn't matter. So on this kind of the mobile money so Obi or telephone so no one trace in the bank account no that the mobile money so no one send the amount. That's what the time Mahmoud Bamia says every Ghanaian has a bank account. That is fact. Unless you don't have a mobile money wallet. But once you have a mobile money wallet, you have a bank account. Because technically, you have an account, not necessarily a bank account.
Yes, you have an account. And today, even the banks are using short codes to open bank accounts.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want to mention some of the banks because, but you just have to enter something, and you enter your bank, your Ghana card details, and it's putting all your details, and you are getting your bank account. So, guys, we are very far away from where we want to get to. But the fact is that we have to make a choice on 7 December about jobs. And that's why Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is the only candidate that spent time and said, let me spend the whole evening with the young people to talk about jobs. He's passionate about it. This is his manifesto. I'll give you a copy. 90% of this manifesto is about jobs. He's not a perfect man. He's not a man without blemish. On here will be a information. But I will find a document. Now for all the 12 candidates documenta. Trust me. It makes a lot of sense because they are connected to each other. But say and again, I'll make this point quickly. You see, the 22s, 23s, 24s, the problem Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is facing is the time the options now ballot paper they were very young. And that is why every time I have an opportunity to converse with my young people, I say, please, let's read. Let's not be hoodwinked. Yammo beyond that, Yankasa Yankin kind. Remember miracles and child, they are Frankasa for phone. Such generation require move your tech service. You be take your time and read about each of the 12 candidates on the ballot paper. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will come on top. Guys, there was a time where people had to close down their businesses because they didn't have power. Trust me. And it wasn't because it was far-fetched getting power. It was because the government then was so broke that they couldn't afford gas to power the electricity. That is truth. That is real. That is real. You probably were 10 years, 12 years. So at that time, yes, you could see the lights were off, but you couldn't have felt it. But it happened. Listen, there were times that three batches of nurses and teachers were left at home without employment. Trust me, it happened in this country. There was a time nurse for teacher for juma for almost about 12 months. Abaisi Miniska intimate for 3 months. It happened in this country. So when we are going to take such a crucial decision about the future of our country, let's not take the decision with little information. Okay. You take a decision with complete information. And I can tell you, say, amongst all the 13 people who want to run as president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have a clear-cut plan and idea to create jobs on the back of what we have done. He has done 2.6 million jobs, but he can do 4 million jobs because a lot of the fundamentals that needed to be built in the past, now it has been built, so we can speed up the process.
This what I'll do, Miracles. Sir, where your initial opening comments, mema okwama obo bibia tofa in one. I don't know. We answer questions nina.
No, I think
I think betting.
And then the internet, the cost.
And the cost of data.
So the betting tax. You see, every moment.
In the subsequent questions, the answer
every moment the kind of taxes that are relevant to the times. And on my way, we've had several taxes introduced, and in several taxes are doing. There's nothing wrong with introducing taxes and withdrawing taxes. In fact, your bar, you try taxes will be close to about 21 taxes. If you
17. First budget statement. 17.
Yeah, if you but along the line, we also introduced some. Why? Because sika we here is all the year. And like I said, budget is revenue and expenditure. So you look at what you have to spend on and the kind of money you are looking for. If you can find that money from here, you don't need this one. So I just say, but there are times also you need the money. So you introduce that new things. We have introduced taxes that lasted for a year in this country. We've introduced taxes that have lasted since 1996. Any idea? So at the moment, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has the view that e-levy has to go. And the reason is not because e-levy is a bad tax. At the time I introduced e-levy, it was very relevant because government na yasa ban be raise sika no na that sure or mine into if any bit to be free e-levy. But then one of the platforms or person they ma or mine no especially in creating jobs for the youth, digitalization. The intention is to create 1 million jobs in the digital space. Now what he's saying is some person creating 1 million jobs in digital space there mean to mean cut taxes and space. Because taxes are space in India, a bit defeats our purpose. So you see, it was relevant in the past. But based on the plan now, watch it for the future now. And who here be it was a year for you. It doesn't mean say Sikana and Kaile with the bebano on here, but to say, Mempe Quine for Froso. Nami found Kokoji Sasikana. And that is why now he has introduced the tax reforms. Tax reforms do ye nyina say that's about me Bawumia ye nyina say nipa ka krebi nature taxes fane say ye nipa be 400 but nipa 200 nature taxes So if you need 200,000 from 200 people, will be I bet you 1,000 cedis. But I say but there are some 200 people they are not paying the taxes. Yempe kwembini for mumbeka ho. No mo so muntua taxes bi. Omo beka ho he can now reduce it from 1,000 to 500, but still obenya 200,000 cedis no day. And that's what Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is talking about. Oh yes sir, the advantage is that businesses no ehun be here your mo kakra mo kombe ha mo kakra. Then they can have that freedom to be able to expand. No matter
and I think the final one, a cost of data, because a lot of the youth will spend time on the internet. And
I think that let's be very fair to ourselves. You're a very liberal market, very liberal market. I mean, government of Ghana doesn't determine prices for private sector, but there's a way to always engage. And Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, I think, has said it. In fact, recently he said it on one of the platforms. He's going to sit down with the telecom companies and let them understand. Listen, when the economy more telecom sector more your biggest beneficiary when the economy no and they thriving on digitalization. They say you're driving your economy into the future with the fourth industrial revolution in mind, digitalization as the catalyst. Yempe ko reducing yeah, in data kakra. Near my young CEOs, they want Instagram, Snapchat, more content creation and that is one way that he said he would use to be able to appeal to private sector, the telecom companies to work on the data pricing. The second way is also competition. Today we have Starlink coming in. Starlink now may be a bit expensive, but it's because they are now introducing themselves into the country. Let's give them some few months to come. They'll start dropping their prices, and it's unlimited. Sometimes when you run the analysis, you realize that they cry better. And so as the competition is coming in, some of these telecom companies will have no choice. There was a time when I got open SIM card that those times, so they be so open about catch. Those times, so ukra SIM card, you package SIM card to say, if they say okoto perfume, then they are there for Ghana Telecom. Their head office was here. But today, where are we? SIM card is being sold by the roadside. So we'll get there. Trust me. Just like all other countries are almost driving digital agenda, baby, and data, I have to say, cheapest commodity. No? Ghana is almost there. Because we are going to get to the point where young people will begin to go directly to the satellite. And then the MTN, the telecells, the Tigos and co realize that actually we are losing out. And we have to begin to do something about it. The market itself will push them down, and it's just a matter of time. But in the interim,
I think I heard Bawumia also speak about the sale of spectrum to telcos, because now spectrum is sold to them, and once you sell, now almost start your operations, and they have to recoup that initial investment. So if government can give the spectrum out to them for free and insist that they bring down the cost of data, I think he also spoke about that. Please
be rest assured, that would also be done. And for Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, they trust him on the database because the plan of hinge on digitalization, and you can't win with digitalization if your data is high.
Okay, I'll come and ask you if you are convinced with answers are what, but let me hear from very good brother as well. Also areas I will consider I be determined to start with. What decide will be able to Abamano?
That is
Union decide. Okay, but you have voted before.
Yes.
And this year, and decided 33 days to go to elections. Nyoma I will consider to decide eventually.
All right, so we've been I said there was another chair for. I think sir Ada has mentioned most of the concerns of the youth. Okay. May focus a bit on persons with disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah, so even though we are part of the youth, your peculiar needs when it comes to us as persons with disability. Yes. But before, no, Miracle was able with something. The credit scoring system will it come with interest. First one.
Okay.
And you perceive because if Obama that opportunity to spread the in several months and then pay. That's a interest that was then we wouldn't see the actual benefit of that. So I want him to help with that. I think he mentioned e-levy because Kambabe Kawasam as a candidate because I think that is a major criticism leveled against Dr. Bawumia, leveled against him. Say Obia who push the drive for digitization and then in your government, though you're not the president, e-levy is introduced. I mean, and also a concern of the youth. Now to persons with disability. it was free tertiary for persons with disability.
Sure.
Listening to him. So I want Miracles to help me. First of all, is it for academic user fees, and accommodation, everything? Because I know that there are some schools like UCC where a person with disability need more admissions. It comes automatically with accommodation.
Okay.
And I want to say UG, where the Office of Students with Special Needs, now Center for Disability Studies and Advocacy, would have to liaise with the various traditional halls to get accommodation
for you.
Us.
Okay.
Yes. In Tiano, admission letter separate, and then was saying our hall fees separate. And I used to need to together because when you admission automatically when you
accommodation. Okay.
And how is it going to be? That is very important to us. Then I must say, people are benefiting from this digitization and the things Miracles has said here. Persons with disability, trust me, and I have to commend Doctor on that because, for instance, all the GPS address bar, maybe Uber and bar, and so I benefited because I didn't see how straight. I didn't have to go anywhere. First, I just made to be so on San all those things we understand, and then the mobile money interoperability and all that. PWD Alcohol Bank, and there is no one to assist you and all that. So now you can be in your home and do those things.
All of that.
I mean, they are good, but it comes down to data and all that. Because you can the data and the data should be easy. Then, after you are giving us education as persons with disability, so Obi, you say unemployment, the government has done well. Also, I created 2.6 million jobs. Miracles are explaining how they got that figure right now. But persons with disabilities will be, yes, we have a system. I know that we are part of the youth, but like I said earlier, we have peculiar needs. And my free tertiary, it means that you are looking at more people with disabilities. School.
Yes.
And the school, you know, you the first class, second class, is there a plan to get us involved in those policies? For instance, or say OB training, I think 1 million youth rights in digital
skills.
I mean, is that accessible such that visually impaired person my speech now also know I can also partake in that training and because I'm speech or computer, so I can equally use the computer, maybe even better, because there are persons with disability or more apps, or more software developers. I can assure you they do so well once they have the needed software. And see how is it going to be very accessible for us as persons with disability, so to benefit from the employment. Then also be on the employment, for Yaku school. I have been advocating for a quota system where Abayinsa offer 200,000 youth. Why can't we say persons with disability 1% of that? So that we know that persons with disability are also catered for under it, because be trust me, you bet me for this 200,000 people. I be a young person with disability. But if we make that conscious effort, and I'm happy say this time around we are not afterthoughts, and I must commend the leaders on that. I say like I'm a factor in their plans. They know that we are also stakeholders and important because we are part of decision making. And that alone is commendable. However, Miracles should help you understand.
On that.
Yes, I mean,
I think those are really good questions.
We will take the last question first.
Okay.
So before Dr. Mahmoud Bamiyan manifesto, page 119, or a whole section for support to persons with disability and special needs.
Can you help me with a soft copy? Maybe
yes, I'll give you the soft copy as well. In fact, we have the Braille version.
Really?
Yeah, we have a Braille version. We have your Braille version of the manifesto. Yes, we are launching about a month ago.
Really?
It's a normal copy of that.
Right.
Now, Obi, what kind page 119? Let's say all the support that Dr. Mahmoud Bamiyan intends to give it, and Obi, it's almost about 2 pages.
Okay. On PWDs.
I have Dr. Mahmoud Bamiyan tonight manifesto way minimum from first page to last page. I will be to say every line, and I can tell you, say Dr. Mahmoud Bamiyan teaches manifesto way with love and with passion, with special focus on persons with disability and special needs. And when he speaks about these things, he speaks about them with passion. Here, Obi, page 120. 7.5.1. One of the points, or say, continue to support businesses and enterprises owned by PWDs. When you say under the NEIP program, you will model especially for persons with disability.
Okay.
Yeah, completely. And I know thousands of persons with disability who have benefited from that model. What does that mean if you Capim North?
Yeah.
And the Capim North is one of the districts with heavy presence with institutions and persons with disability.
Sure.
Many visually impaired at that dormitory. We know more at now. They can do everything that we can do. Maybe senior back when Bob slide.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just say
I bomb me. Come and bow, no punish me. You know. But Obi, I say. Set quota for recruitment of persons with disability for public sector recruitment. So you see the point you raised here, are resolved here.
All right.
Because we're indicating, or say, we will set quota for recruitment of persons with disability for public sector recruitment. Or say, provide incentives for employers who hire persons with disabilities.
Okay.
But I don't know 1 year specific quota in the manifesto, so we can hold him to it.
You see, these things, when you are going to do them, you need to first of all set the tone. When you set the tone, there are so many things that come with this. Legal frameworks, regulatory frameworks. So those things, you have to make sure that you are doing it and doing it right. Because you may understate the quota or overstate the quota. You understand? However, it is not the best in the interest of the person with disability.
Okay.
So the tone is set. The commitment is here. When he enters office, he's going to pick this and say, how do we do this? What is the situation at the moment? Do we make it 5%? Do we make it 6%? Do we make it 3%? After all, how many are they? At the moment, when we say our album of persons with disability, at the district level, we did an album for persons with disability across the country. And then you use who are the mass support through District Assembly Common Fund. And all the 261 assemblies have. And see, the commitment has been done here and set here for the persons with disability. I just wanted to just respond to that concern that they have. The second thing also is that the free tertiary for persons with disability are completely free.
Free as in accommodation.
AFUF, RFUF.
Okay.
In addition to support for pockets. This is what the Vice President is saying.
Okay.
Me MC, 70% of me common fund for persons with disability, me committed to paying scholarships and fees for persons with disability. I told you that me districts, some of them free or because school or any family. When your admission your friend is a Winneba, you must take care of them. And see, there are some friends of ours who are persons with disability or not going to be in school. Disability is different. And to be or call you EW, maybe will be a machine or call you EW, just only be co school.
It's true.
Only be a co school. Because on the class near China, there, your son in same. It's the lecture Nekano. Nippon on the one that can't some channel.
Sure.
So what I say, Nippon can't, you're born who can say, Nippon kind. This is maybe a family man, a family woman that government has to take care of. So what you say now, Dr. Mahmoud Bamian say, "Bet you office in Namao, RFUF, AFUF. Now you're more district assembly now free hono. I buy sick and their mom so one from one person with disability no, or the beer man and the beer pocket money, and that is how holistic it is. Don't forget, say Dr. Bamian, he's not doing this in vacuum. He's doing this on the back of experience with the current arrangement. Currently, we have some form of scholarship running for persons with disability.
Yes.
We have it all. And that's why a lot of people don't know. We have it at the tertiary level. You are aware?
Yes.
Great. And it has challenges.
Obinosa have been president of the...
not a president of...
Exactly. So and that's something a lot of people are hearing for the first time.
And the government gives us bursary as well.
This government, I'm telling you, this government is doing that for persons with disability. It is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia free tertiary no kind on the back of experience in what we've been doing, I think since 2018, 2019 for persons with disability. We've been doing it since 2019 or so up to now. But what challenges? Some of the challenges, and they say we do it through the scholarship secretariat. And to tell the be a disbursement in a check, you know the issues. So Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is thinking about redirecting all of these things through the common fund, which at least I know they say better is sustainable, and that is the assurance we are giving to persons with disability. It is why persons with disability now would see me. Yes, not everything it is that we've done yet the best, but between you and the former president or some president Emmanuel alternative in there, we are aware. We are aware. Say, young Kwani to me created that opportunity for persons with disability to also dream. Obi, we are building entrepreneurs with persons with disability. Trust me when I tell you that. I have given equipment, tools, money, capital support for hundreds of persons with disabilities, and it's being done across the country. Now, not done quick for or say a force, say yenye tabletop. When the former president was in office, yen to me accounted for support to persons with disability. They are not more this assembly thing as a bar. Now, finance officer na koyi. No, they are share envelope. About the 50 cities are share envelope. No, Chichama. But today that has changed because you must submit a report to the Ministry for Local Government on what you have done with the persons with disability money with pictures. Me mom supporting you here. Some kosra omo crash say business no akwakosi saying. So he should be very much rest assured. Now onye GDA say ade na ya sha ase aye no. Ye na ya sha ase ye na sade ma we make cho ina ye. Ye na ma person with disability no most school you tua base mom. Ye na ma person with disability kote share you tua omo academic fees mom. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia say ye hu insuye bebre fi dia ya start ni mu. Or GDA say it's time say we man holistic. Near making sure Christ will do shit assembly so bad. A best support. You should have confidence in
monthly. Yeah, meaning say questions no where you need no tougher area.
Okay, credit scoring.
Yeah, no, because that's interest.
Yes, one. Sure. Of course, once you hear credit, definitely will be interest. Now that's how credit scoring works. Okay. Like it works all over the world.
Okay.
So when Nanteko obi oton fridge, that's how we fridge. And you know the other than money channel kakra.
Okay.
Because the credit rating system that system is available to all financial institutions. Until like it happens all over the world. You walk to the vendor, you say I want this fridge. Then we buy Ghana card. No pull with credit score. Now I click it. Now send you information. No, I'm at all financial institutions.
Okay.
And send them all the financial institutions now. No more determined. So you have 4, 5, 6 financial institutions making an offer. Okay. That will give. No one can say okay. Me 5 free credit away. No waji. Enti obetua benda ne come on.
Now what for the end of the
now for the
so the interest will be charged by the banks.
Yes. Okay. And now you see the point also is that banks' interest rate Ghana and Bebrina because of our lack of proper identification.
The risk level
is high. The lower your risk, the lower your interest. The higher your risk, the higher your interest. And today that we have an integrated system database where your Ghana card is connected to everything, it's bringing the risk level down. And because of the credit rating system, the banks will know whether you're credit worthy or you are not
to even
receive your money, and that would affect the kind of
interest
will be also. So it is a big deal for us, not just from the employment side, but even for ensuring say Ghana for being access to basic things. Near marketing yen nua ba ko betume to kwan fia no ko Europe 6 months time say makoto car adentia ontua cash and carry bo challenge kakra bo bi Ghana ha de this we service we service na so na no bo okosoro into want to mean save money do that, and that is the difference the credit scoring system is bringing. Make sure everybody get access to basic things, increase the demand, which will mean that production will have to increase. Production increasing means that we have to create a lot more.
Very well. Now, Adase, or one more question. Adanti, for our question in the two and then we'll read messages and open phone lines. Okay. Yes.
So the interest rates on loans that banks give out are very high. So I'd like to know what the vision of Dr. Bawumia is on the issue of interest rates, so that young people, like the young entrepreneurs, they can, start up businesses. Yes. In addition to the credit score system that you already spoke about.
So like we even just mentioned just now, say bank bebo obesia. Na say ohwe na so hu say one betumi scan a factor. Two ade na dokwa na viable nti ubenya scan if you know it. Third, wonu unwane mfiri ohwe obe hu ni ade nyina affect the interest rate. But of course, Bank of Ghana also has a hand in ensuring say you betumi pushy interest rates a bit more lower. Truth is that in the past 4 years, from 2020 till now, economy has gone through a very difficult time. Very, very, very difficult times. No doubt about that. Because the bar moved first in 2017, the interest rate was very high. But we beaten it down until COVID by a global economy core haywire near Dina. But you can clearly see that the economy is rebounding. A lot of things are improving in the economy. A lot of indicators are getting back to, if anything, positive. And see, you can be rest assured, say, once we stick to the path of rebounding, once we stick to the path of getting back on track, these interest rates would go down a bit further for young business people to be able to access them without much challenge and difficulties. Because Vice President has given a clear-cut plan on how to manage our currency and how to manage our economy. I mean, that's another conversation we can go into. Spoken about how he's going to back the currency with gold, something that we haven't really done in the past. if you go to the UK, the reason why the UK currency is always strong is because they have one of the largest gold reserves you can find in the world. Now we have the gold under the earth. How do we get it out safely and use it to back our currency to strengthen? At the same time, how do we ensure that we're able to reduce our dependence on imports? You understand? Which would make sure that we are producing here and spending our money here and reducing our dependency on these the need for dollar and all of that, which affects our currency, which ultimately affects everything we do in this economy. And see, once you look at the comprehensive plan he has in dealing with the economy moving forward, and we succeed at that, we rest assured say we should have some
very well. Now, question Anna.
Yeah, we with a
final. Yes.
Yeah, with a quickly. My main family pleading for honorable miracles. So now confirm Dr. Baumia.
Okay.
There will be persons with disabilities. So they are buying. So you know some of these things. Sure. The costs of assistive devices will be annual.
And by assistive devices, they are
there. Hearing aids for the hearing impaired persons, white canes for I see wheelchairs near there, cars be a person with disability to make the onsa. They use the brake and the crutches and everything. Still manage and those things. Tax and what they see. I be do sana obi. I mean, depending to me into your best stress or better. Then obi finally. And the MPP and Persons with Disability Act, so your lawyer to make Act 715.
Yes.
Yeah, passing your man Baba Yamra. Obi, it's been how many years now? 2024, 2006, 2024.
Yes.
The law not anticipated by 10 years, 2016. Nanka enforce the law. Basically, nothing is being done about it, and so we plead. Say, finance again for 12 months or bar on finding new share, and then we are hoping
the implementation of the act.
The implementation of the act.
Okay, very important. It's interesting. It seems parties are very loud on that.
Yes.
Even though they have copious way about persons with disabilities, on the act, and I said there is some silence. Miracles. My question to you on behalf of the youth of Ghana, and it's Dr. Baumia is now the 7th vice president. And Nyomana youth they complaining about Nyoma happens this year. Why should we wait for a future Baumia government and some resolve issues with Mama Yang?
Obi, we don't have to wait. And in 100,000 of young people are under mahama he didn't wait. We don't have to wait. And until that teacher and a nurse for no more 12 months, 3 months, and no more 12 months. We are not waiting. He's done it. We don't have to wait. And until the pizza man chicken man be branches be and I hit to be pay and for opportunities we are not waiting. He's doing it. It's the BNY as a Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, which I say we have to wait. But Yashisha Mnasa 4 years or so. As I say, binary, there will be I saw the baby and no before. So what I say, Yashisha Mra say 4 years or so. There will be I saw the baby near Cocoto Swaba. And Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, a friend saying, Vice President say, Michelle Yama baby Ababidria. Some family and see for no man to me who in Siho. Now the year to me, I am successful no young protector. Near Jaina could dear by for somebody never say. Obi Ajana one number seven. Ebeka Oho. And because Ebeka Obi, I'm very passionate about it. I'm not even playing. And ya grow. Only Miro Just project. The health project, project. We say 8 years and this is by no man to me. Now not bank kufa no aba baby. Now 18 point to me now 114. Obi, free senior high school. I can tell you that 6 months of John Mahama being in office, we'll be discussing the cancellation of free senior high school or mean testing of free senior high school. Only mean testing.
Means testing.
Means testing. They say, yeah, but ma say beka say we bet to etua. One want to meet you and mention until the buy beka say, wow, fees are we here no. Oba be school apply. Na yahwe say be ma wana yema obi. That will be the beginning of discrimination against the poor. In a be ma hiafo enho akoka edwemu. And they have said it to Omaka publicly. We be na no aka say onji ni say dey aban secretary Ghana ni bia school fees man ko secondary school. Enti sanya ma we nyina ya at school. Ebiem obi adan. Is it say you don't believe their consistent assurance? They will rather improve some of these policies. They have been inconsistent. So why do we believe? Where did you get the word consistent from? No, the fact that Mahama for some time now has been consistent. He would improve free SHS. Where are you measuring the consistency from? Is it not the same Mahama that said that if he has 2 billion, he will invest it in free SHS? But that was the launch of the manifesto. So how are you using consistent for something that there is a contradiction in? Where are you measuring from? You are choosing where to measure from the time of the manifesto. Which manifesto? NDC manifesto. But that was a manifesto he was speaking speaking to, or you forgotten? When they were doing free education, 419, it was a manifesto they were speaking to. When Felix Kwachofosu said free SHS is nothing but a scam, it doesn't make sense one bit. It was a manifesto they are speaking to. What is rather a challenge is their inconsistency. So stop using consistency. The fact that one person says this and the next day he says, do you know who in the and the mahama Eka free SHS and someone say obey free SHS? And yet because Afrobarometer report and all the surveys they've done show say Ghana for 85% or more say free SHS in the year good. Obi, when I open my now one only message. One won't never be anchor. Now I better say, way, I dear way near dear Bako be say here and then I This is a man who has stood who stood on a campaign platform and says about 2 million and truck a canal the film, no canal the film. So how are you using the word consistency? Now let me even ask you this simple question. Say and now we are crack 9 years crample and our choice between dear or no dear naba or yeah. And they are not also on Jindi, no more afraid you also Jidi. Toma Bako better wine. They are not on Jindi now, afraid you also Jidi and say, oh, Toma, I may improve it. What be that? Does it even make sense? Also, to tear the buy, no. They are no yeah, no, the buy against all odds, against all the resistance. In fact, and this is for the PSHS crowd court. I buy the buy, no, Mahama Yariga, and they are buying courts, all my buying for oil sika and your PSHS. Now the person comes and say, Toma me. How does this make sense? And if free SHS in Yomeguno, me say Ghanaians would regret it if we vote for John Mahama in this election. Because the free senior high school, that is a baby to everybody. Open for microphone, Fako tip tolling, Nako Kaishi. Nabiso Bia said, the entire better about me. I don't tell you say free SHS. Obi, and that thing is not in vacuum. It is because free SHS is changing lives. It is changing the lives of families and people. Obi me, Okwapiman school. Man beside say assembly on the side say tieni obi me ti exam score na me soon because me sua there no minimum there no me be try be pamo me hey me so beza as headmaster because headmaster they say me 2 fees na and I'm here students me nya 2 fees it me so beza obi that is how bad the situation is Okwaman school na me school na me art so usually I am in class with the persons with disability because normally art
yeah
obi me class money be 46 me my 3 now only say me yes you enter in me 3 go to no we John now boy you to class I guess how to him see at back corner now back corner not beza back class I mean be me join fees I mean the school fees ka me new posto it's girl e friend girl me for back kumpo e was school ko dey be the school fees ka dey fa girl so I just say it's that me pay between her I say be the corn beef ne sardine near the bar every da come member when me nyame cat home without free senior high school a lot of dreams would have been shut, a lot of people would have just gone off, and over 800,000 and between 2009 and 20